And welcome back to Clutch Time. This is your host, Rico. And in today's show, we are looking at two teams that I think if they make Hoopsteria, they are going to break the bracket in Hoopsteria. And so one of these teams is a team that I think a lot of people are certainly going to be on board with, especially with what they were able to do a season ago. I think a lot of people really believe in them. But this other team is a team that would have to put it together. But I must say that if they are able to do so, they might be a pretty scary team in Hoopsteria. And so let's start with a team that I think a lot of people are going to be on board with, and that is going to be the Miami Hurricanes. And so, look, there are several reasons why I like the Miami Hurricanes. And I'm going to start with one of the reasons, and it's going to be something that I think a lot of people are probably overlooking here. And that is the fact that their head coach, Jim Larrañaga, is set to retire at the end of the season. And so I think that this is really working in the Miami Hurricanes' favor. And I say that because this is the team that won Hoopsteria last season. I think that this team is very tight. This is a team that really goes out. They play for one another. And you could tell that these players play for Jim Larrañaga. And I think that they knew that this was going to happen. And I think that this is probably one of the reasons why this team has been able to really pull it together and why they are on the run that they are on right now. And so I think that that is point number one. This is a team that is playing for their head coach in Jim Larrañaga, and they want to make this a special run. And then, with the Miami Hurricane, I think point number two is that they did win Hoopsteria last season. And I think about what the former head coach of the Houston Rockets, Rudy Tomjanovich, once said, who coached Akeem Olajuwon to his two titles. And what he said was like, you just never underestimate the heart of a champion. And that is exactly what we're seeing with the Miami Hurricanes. And so just to look a little bit deeper as to what the Miami Hurricanes are doing, when it comes down to statistics, here's one of the things that I really like about the Miami Hurricanes as they are on a nice winning streak. I think they've won 5 straight here, but they are holding opponents to 65.4 points a game. And that's good enough for 11th in the country. And so that is a top tier defense that they are playing with right now. So they have really turned it on defensively. And I just talked about just one of the best duos in all of SimWorld U, and that's going to be with Jalen Snow and then also to Carroll with UCLA. But I think that this duo that they have here in Miami, they're right there, because when you look at Dominique Bianco and what he's been able to do at the guard position, averaging 14.9 points a game, 4.3 assists a game, and just terrific as just a shot creator, great passer, and terrific ball handler, can get anywhere on the floor. And then you have a really nice score and just a complimentary player here in Jermaine McLemore, who's played extremely well, averaging 18 points a game, 6.5 rebounds a game. And you talk about a player that really attacks the rim, got 41 dunks on the season. And so he plays with a lot of just shot creation and then intangibles. And so both of these players together have helped the Miami Hurricane just be resurgent. And I think that these two players are players you don't want to see. Defensively, they put it together. They're playing for their coach right now. And I led with, it's going to depend if they make it. And that is going to be something that is maybe up to the committee. We'll see how the season finishes. But in a lot of ways, the Miami Hurricanes, really, I think that they are in a good spot because they won last year in Hoopsteria. And I mean, their record is 12-14. They've got 5 games left. And they do have some tough games against Louisville, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech. And I feel like that those can be some real big resume winners for them. And so if they win those games, I think that that really boosts their resume. And then, when you look at the conference that they play in, you have 5 teams that are ranked in the top 25. And out of those 5, there's 4 that are in the top 10. So I think that that is something that's certainly going to hold some weight here for the committee if it comes down to decision time. And so, look, they're 7-2. They're a 4-way tie right here in the ACC. Miami is in a prime position. This is a team that I think a lot of people would agree with, that if they do get into the tournament, the record may not be there. They may not have started off very well, but I think that they are primed to go ahead and get some upsets and really break some people's bracket out there for the people that do pick against them. And so the next team here that I think could really go out there and just maybe bust up a bracket, and I'm telling you, it's a team that I think it seriously would be a dark horse here, considering all the things that they've been through just internally. But it's going to be Michigan. I think that the Michigan Wolverines are another team here where I'm thinking, man, if they can really put it together, I think that they might really make a surprise run here. So, with Michigan, you have, I think, maybe two of the better big men in all the country. And so that really starts with what they have from the interior here. As we bring this up, it is with Richard Przarski. He has been a terrific player for the Michigan Wolverines. He's projected to be a top 3 pick in SWBA. He's averaging 19.1 points a game and 6.3 rebounds a game, also a block as well. And then you pair that with Lorenzo Phenom, who's playing extraordinarily well right now. And so we're going to talk about that in a moment. So going back to Richard Przarski and what he's been able to do, I think that this is a player that has been a real post hub for this Michigan Wolverines team. And when I say a post hub, I mean, he's a guy that can catch it at the top of the post, and you can play off him with some dribble handoffs. I think he's a pretty good passer as well. And he's terrific with his post offense. He can knock down jump shots at a high rate. And I think that, look, they beat you up on the glass. Both of these players, including him, they're terrific as far as getting to the offensive glass. That means that they're getting the Michigan Wolverines more shots on the offense. And so that is always going to be key to really beat a team. And then defensively, because they hit the glass so well, they are taking opportunities away from the opposing teams. And you have to think about this, that with two bigs, look, the game is going to slow down a little bit in Hoopsteria. And I think that is where the possessions are going to be prime, and you're able to take away some of these possessions. I think that this is where it could really favor the Michigan Wolverines. And then, when you look at just teams that have been hot, look, they might have one of the hotter players in the country right now with Lorenzo Phenom. And in fact, according, I should say, to The Athletic, and this was CC Wilder who wrote this, that said that right now, when you look at Lorenzo Phenom, he has 9 double-doubles, which is actually third in the nation right now. And so that just lets you know that this young man is really getting it done. The draft stock is going up, and that's what you want to see, especially if you're looking to be a team that is going to really make some noise. You want your star players to play well. And when you look at the statistics here, this is a team that, look, they have no empty calories on the offensive end right now, because currently, they're 11th in the country with their field goal percentage at 50%. So they do not waste time with the nonsense shots. They make sure that they get to places on the floor where they feel comfortable running their offense through their two bigs. And then when you look at the assists, this is a team that is a willing passer. Like they're a team that certainly they'll go out there, they'll make the extra pass, they'll play for one another in that way. 16.4 assists a game, currently 10th in the country. And then when it comes down to points scored, they are top 20 in the country. They're currently 17th in the country at 73.8 points a game. So they can score the basketball. And that is another reason why, you will like them in the tournament. Maybe they are ones that could really break the brackets here in Hoopsteria. And I know that they have a tough schedule as well. When you look at the teams that they have left over their last 7 games, they have Minnesota, they have Illinois, they have Michigan State. Those are just a couple teams left. Now, their record is 9-11, so obviously not as good as Miami, but they still can improve their resume, and they're 4-3 in the conference, and Illinois is at 6-2. So there's still a chance here that Michigan can really shake some things up. and some other teams really could fall as well. And so they'll need a little help. But I think if they get, a win or two here, maybe it's a quality win. If they're having to depend on the committee to get in, I think that, look, this is a team that you don't want to see. And when it comes down to just both of these coaches, whether it's Miami or Michigan, going back to Miami and Jim Larinaga, look, he is a coach that has done this for a long time. He's done it at a high level. In fact, in 2006, he led James Mason all the way to the Final Four. And so that is a coach that can get it done. And it's James Madison. I apologize. So Jim Larinaga got James Madison all the way to the last portion of Hoopsteria. And then when it comes down to Michigan and you look at Dusty May and his experience, this is a coach that took Florida Atlantic to the last part of Hoopsteria in 2023. And so you have two coaches that are super experienced that can lead these programs perhaps all the way. Maybe both teams are willing to make or are ready to make a big run. I shouldn't say willing. I think that both teams are wanting to make the run. I think that they're ready to make a run. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking here. Do you feel like that, yes, Michigan is ready to make a surprise run? And then also, too, do you think that the Miami Hurricanes, do you think that they are primed and ready to go? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments. And as we always say around here, see the game, be the game. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.